Hello, our viewers. It is another Friday, and you know how we do it. This is Couples Will Show, and this is where we write down our love while we are alive, as we have always said, and we will continue saying until it is sinks. We must write our love while we are alive, for we don't want our love story to be told when we are 6 feet under. Neither do we want our love story to be read when we are gone. And this is Wema TV, the voice of hope. Out there, people are calling me the undisputed, but my name remains to be Willie Kinyash. And tonight, I have an amazing guest. We are talking about the blended family. Have you ever heard of blended family? That is what we are tackling tonight, and I am hosting Eusebio Sudi. Yes, Eusebio Sudi. He's the chairman, Divorce Care Alumni, Parklands Baptist Church, and he will be sharing with us his story even as we tackle this topic, the blended family. Hey bro.
Yes.
Vipi?
Nashukuru.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yes. We are glad that you got time to come and be with us.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
Nashukuru. It's a blessing.
You can say hi to our viewers and
yes.
Introduce yourself to us.
Wonderful. My name is Eusebio Sudi Aburili. I'm here today to talk about blended families. I'm a gentleman from Nairobi. Married with 4 children. Previously a divorcee, but now here I am, and I'm glad and proud.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Today we are talking about the real issues.
Yeah.
Some things that people run away from. Mm-hmm. That is what we want to talk about tonight. Mm-hmm. And so what is blended family? Well,
blended family is basically once you've made a union, mm-hmm. You're married and you have children, then you divorce, and your spouse goes and marries somewhere else, and they have children, and me, I go marry somewhere else and I have children. Mm-hmm. Then we bring all these children together, or in some sort of union as well, like we share children and I share children with someone else, then we bring them all together. That's a blended family, when you sit in harmony and in agreement and you have a way of working it all together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's my definition of a blended family.
Wow.
Yes.
So yourself, you are in a blended family.
Oh yeah, I am.
How did you find yourself in a blended family?
Well, in my previous marriage, I was married to one wife, mm-hmm. and I had 3 wonderful children, man. I mean, one is 13 now, going to 14. I have a 10-year-old who just turned the other day. Mm-hmm. And I also have a 5-year-old who's turning 6 in the next 3 or so months. Mm-hmm. So married, wonderful. Then unfortunately, life happened and we got to get a divorce. Mm-hmm. So once we divorced, I moved on. Mm-hmm. Wherever I went, I have a child now, mm-hmm. who happens to be a step brother to my other children, mm-hmm. with another lady, of course. Mm-hmm. So in all that, what I do is I still have relation with my other children. Mm-hmm. So I still bring in my children to be with me where I am, mm-hmm. with my wife now, and my child. Mm-hmm. Now bringing them from where they are to come here, mm-hmm. and having to see me with another wife, mm-hmm. and another child, mm-hmm. bringing them together, blending that particular union now, for them to understand that yes, daddy is still daddy, but daddy has someone else, mm-hmm. and they have a child who happens to be your brother. Mm-hmm. I don't like using the word step, I just, mm-hmm. use the name brother. Yeah. So you have to care and mind for him, mm-hmm. as I would for you, yeah. because that is what I'm training him to do. Mm-hmm. So in that, mm-hmm. I consider that we've been able to blend in that way. Mm-hmm. And together with my current spouse, mm-hmm. we have worked very hard. It took a year for her to be ready, mm-hmm. to meet my other children. Yeah. So for her, it's pure because she has no relationship with these kids. Mm-hmm. Me, I do, but yeah. her, she does not. Mm-hmm. But we share a child with her, mm-hmm. and now by bringing them in, mm-hmm. blending my past, mm-hmm. with my current, yeah. that now has brought us to this particular 4, and that's how I found myself here. So it was not cosmetic. It was not, I did not plan for it. That's what I'm trying to say, but it is what it is, and here I am now.
Yes. How was the process?
Well, the process for divorce, or the process for
the process of now starting the
Wow.
new family?
Yes, it was quite interesting. Why? Because my current spouse understood and knew that I had a family. I knew that I had children. So the question was not how, the question was when. Between the two of us, we had this conversation and we discussed it and we talked about it. And she had to be ready psychologically. And that took us some time because it took us, we were together for what, around, I can say a year. But for her to meet my children, it took her another year. So just that time frame in itself was a bit of, for me, I was like, now I have to go meet my children somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, I can't bring them in. Or if I'm bringing them home, she has to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, so it was quite difficult at first, but it was good because she had to prepare herself. And the moment she was ready, she told me, honey, I'm good now.
You can bring them.
Now I can meet you kids. And we have not had a fault at any given point. It has been smooth. And I'm speaking for the both of us because she comes first in my life. It has been smooth. It has been a smooth transition. We've not had any issues. We dialogue, we discuss. We not only share amongst ourselves, but we also share with the mother of my other children. And I can only say that it's been harmonious so far.
How did your ex-wife receive the news? Or did you share with her that you want now to start another family?
Well, I didn't share with her that I wanted to start another family. I just started the family. Yeah.
So she came to know much later?
So she got to know, she's my ex-wife. She's not a stranger. So she got to know. She knew what was going on. So the question, again, it wasn't the how, it was the when. Because eventually she knew that I'll want to introduce, because for whatever reason, she also understands what I'm all about. And me, I'm all about our union. I'm all about my children. And I'm all about God. So in that, she knew it's a question of when will it be. So that we discussed, because even for her, she had to be ready for her children to meet another lady. It can't just be at the ambush and now I want, no. Even for her, she had to be ready. And for her, it was a bit of a problem. It wasn't a problem because, again, I spend every other fortnight with my children. So because of that, she was a bit relaxed. And she knew that it's going to happen. And since then, it has happened. And we share good times. I go pick my kids when I'm picking them from her place. Or she can drop them at my new place. And far to that, I can also go with my child, with this other lady, to her place and pick the kids. And she knows my other child's name and everything. So she's fully aware of what is going on.
How is the relationship between these two ladies?
The relationship between the ladies is cordial, if I may say. I mean, they have each other's contact, just in case anything ever happened, maybe to me or to our children, because at the end of the day, we share all of them. So they have each other's contacts. They call when it's necessary. Well, I wouldn't know whether when it's unnecessary, they also talk. But that's upon them. But they have each other's contacts. They've had them for a while. Because I knew this lady for a bit of time, and they've always had their contacts. So with that, I have not had any misunderstanding or misgivings with regard to their communications as time is. But from where I am seated, it's very cordial. When it comes to the kids, she understands what my ex-wife requires of our kids, and she does her best to make sure that standards are adhered to the letter. Sleeping early, what time, when to do, what not to do, she's fully aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did the three kids react when now you were introducing them to the new mother?
Oh, well, it's not a new mother. One of the things that we categorically we've defined and we emphasize, you only have one mother, and you only have one father. However, This is the mother to your brother. Are we together? So that they call her mama so and so. They don't call her mom. That is not their mom. Same thing to this other child. She calls the siblings mom, mama so and so, not mom. No, that one is not there. Your mom is your mom. So we are not going to corrupt. That is a rule and a definition that we've made very clear amongst the children, and the moms are okay with it because it makes sure that their status is secure. Nobody is invading anyone, and nobody is ambushing anyone. So the reaction by the kids was, well, I can't really, well, I wasn't in their heads, but from what I saw, it was refreshing. It was one of those, oh, phew, at least now we know where daddy is. You know, one of those, because when you sit for a week or two and you don't see, or you don't know where your dad goes, or your dad sleeps or eats, of course that was a problem for them. But eventually when they came to meet her and meet their sibling, it was more or less, oh, so this is where you are, so she's mama. Oh, okay now. That getting to know in itself was a relief for them, from what I could observe. From the time that I've shared with them, that was such a relief for them. And we've been okay. You know, when someone calls you and asks you where is mama so and so, it's very encouraging, because they know where you are, and they can also call her and find out where I am. And she will always tell them where I am. If I'm nearby, she'll pass me the phone if they can't reach me on phone. So it is that kind of a relationship, and I want it to stay like that. Yeah.
That must be maturity.
With a lot of grace.
Yeah.
With a lot of grace.
Yes, and a lot of grace.
A lot of grace.
Wow.
God has been faithful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I applaud you for that.
Wow, thank you.
Yes, I applaud you for that. How should one plan for his or her blended family?
Wow, that's a good question. Plan. You know, most of these things are more so unplanned than planned.
Yes.
They are more of a necessity.
Yes.
You know, it's not like an impulse buy. So it's have an open mind. Don't get in there with conditions and expectations. Just keep your mind open. Be relaxed. Sit back. Want to know more. Want to learn more than enforce more. Because I think we jump into enforcement. Oh, I will not. This I will not stand for. And I think that's where we may get it wrong. But learn to want to know. Like when my current spouse said that she needed this period of time, was to get to understand me, to get to understand how I love and care for my children. She wanted to understand how she would be ready, or how she should be ready to take care of other people's children. You know, so she had to do a lot of study, a lot of research, just to get around and to see, okay, so this is how you're supposed to handle yourself. Because it takes, for me, I mean, she had to take child care, what is it called? There was this Bible study that we were doing with my church to do with how to raise kids. She had to do that. Why? Because not that I'm comparing or measuring up to, but because my former spouse had done that as well. So if you get to understand that this is how they were being brought where they were, even for you and for me and my house, we serve the Lord, you'll have at least a picture of how I would want status quo to be maintained. So that was very fundamental. You have to take your time, and you cannot force it on anyone. I could not force it on her. My kids, I want to stay with my kids here with you. No. She has to be ready. Now, how to prepare for her to prepare for that? I think she did a lot of research and a lot of soul searching, and also to question: am I ready to parent another woman's children? You know. So I think she went through that process. For me, it was a question of how ready is she, and how prepared is my former spouse to allow me. And I'll use the word allow me to introduce our children to someone else. And that in itself I found to have so much grace, because it is the same thing I would do. I wouldn't mind if when she's ready or she's ready and she wants to get married again and start something else, I wouldn't mind if I'm also accorded the same provision of I'm doing this, and how do you think I should introduce our child to our children to? Some to meet someone else, you know? I found that to be very profound, and I had to give her that honors for her to say yes. Not that eventually the yes would come in automatically, because this is where I am, but I had to give her that honest for her to have that provision, to know that she has that right, to know that she has that power, because that's how much I care for her as well, because her integrity and her sanity is most important to me, because she's the mother to my children. So that time factor is very important. So in preparedness, give yourself some time. Introduce the topic, but give it some time. Let it simmer. Let it sink in. They have discussions. I'm not ready because of ABCD. Then I will provide ABCD to make sure that it meets your standards. Same thing on this side. I'll ABCD to meet your standards. Once we had that dialogue over and over again, when it was time, it was so natural, it hurts. I never had a repulse or my eldest daughter banging the door to my spouse, or mom saying, oh, she's saying that your wife is better than me. You know, I've never had any of those. And as I said, I have a teenager now in the house, so I, to some degree, I know what I'm talking about. So that time factor, very critical. Very, very critical.
But I believe it requires a lot of patience and maturity.
You know, if you allow time, if you give time, it's right, then everything will make sense eventually. Even the maturity comes with time. It's how you learn from things, how you learn from your experience. I can't come sit in front of the camera today and say, yes, I am ready for this. And I've never done this before. But today I can do it. Tomorrow if I do it, by the time I'm on my 10th time, I'll have the experience. That would mean that I'll be more natural, more mature in front of the camera than ever before. You can't compare this with my 20th take. No, you can't. So time brews maturity. Time brews wisdom. Time gives you all these instruments for you to be able to apply, not only in your well-being, but also in your family and in your children's lives. That's what it takes.
That's powerful.
Yes.
And amazing.
Yes.
Just hold it there for a moment.
Yes.
Yes, if you have just joined us, this is Couples Will Show, and this is where we write down our love will while we are alive, for we don't want our love story to be read when we are gone. And tonight we are talking about blended family. What do you think about blended family? There's that notion out there that when you get divorced, you should not remarry. We want to hear your take. What is your take? Leave a comment. Tell us what you think about this whole thing of blended family. And I am hosting Sudi, who is the chairman of Divorce Care Alumni, Parklands Baptist Church. Sudi,
yes,
how do you deal with this issue of, especially you being a believer, people coming to you and maybe saying that when you are a believer and you get divorced, you should not remarry, not unless your spouse is dead. How do you deal with that?
Okay, because I believe my spouse is dead, but not naturally or anything. But the union that was there before is past. So I always refer to, for example, for my late dad, he passed away. So the same thing about this relationship or this marriage or my ex-wife, because she's my ex, so she passed away. So my belief, and I'm not saying about anyone's, because everyone is warranted their own opinion, and whenever I hear that, I'm always like, I think that is good for you, and I think you should apply it if you believe it. And if your wife believes that too, then please apply it. For me, and I'm very strong when it comes to belief, because I believe I'm a believer. And I believe that my wife was not, my ex-wife was not a believer. Now, it becomes one of those, what are we founded on? What doctrine are we building on? And because I cannot quite stamp and say that, yes, I'm a believer, so I'll carry both our faiths, then I took it upon myself to say, no, I will still I'll still have goodness, see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. God had no intention for man to stay alone. And so I chose to get out of one, ready myself, and get into another one. And if I get into another one, this time I'm getting into one that is established in the belief of God and in the doctrines that the Word of God entails, which is for me to love my wife as Christ loved the church, and for my wife to submit to God, not to me, to God.
Yes.
Then from there, I am certain that she'll submit to me as I would submit to her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is my take. It's brief, I think, and that is what I believe.
Yes.
So for those who believe that it is wrong, I think according to their books,
it's okay.
It's okay.
But according to you?
According to me, this is the way it is. Yes.
We tried all we could have done, and things didn't work out.
Yes.
So it's like it's dead. That relationship is dead.
Yeah.
And so I can move on, she can move on.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, what are some of the challenges that blended families goes through?
Well, first it's a trust. It's a trust thing. I think one of the challenges is, you can't just trust someone with what you hold dearly. So of course, when I'm imagining a mom, even taking a child to a play date, that mom must have made sure that there are certain conditions that are strict to make sure that their child is safe. So imagine now you having to do that to your children and handing them over to someone else. Of course, it won't come, like snap. It'll take some time. So the challenge that I experienced was, at first, of course, you get those many phone calls. Those many phone calls, are they okay? Have they eaten? I'm like, I mean, I've eaten too, so of course they've eaten. And are they being taken? Did they sleep on time? Did they do this? Did they do that? So one of the challenges is, let me speak now as the dad on this other side, that I'm the one who has introduced a new member into the family. For me, the challenge was now me being able to stay calm and understand what my ex-spouse is going through. When she tells me, when she calls you 50 times or 70 times or 2 times or 3 times just to ask, are they okay? I don't like whatever Nani is wearing. I don't like, make sure that that swing, I don't, So taking it slowly and understanding that she's not there. She's not in control. And just staying calm about it rather than repulsing it and saying, Kwani, I'm still the dad of the children, so I know what I'm doing, So just putting everything that she puts across into consideration. And with that, she calmed down, and she eventually was able to take. Same thing on this other side. Trusting her that she'll be able to handle this particular situation. Being able now to mitigate the two mothers and making sure that they understand that, yes, I get your concern, and I understand that you can handle your business. So not to worry, I can be that. I can be the Kofi Annan here and just make sure that you're comfortable with the standards and you're comfortable with the expectations. So that was the first thing. Another thing that I know that is a big challenge is communication. You see, we need to be able to communicate at every given stage, at every given time. Because if we don't do that, then we lose the dynamism of what we are trying to put together. And that is something that I've also experienced, where maybe a certain information was not passed accordingly, where a certain detail was not expressed to its fulfillment. So someone did not understand exactly what it is. So those stages as well come in a big way. So communication can be a challenge if the three of you are not synchronized. Hence why, for me, what I put together was to make sure that you can always reach each other,
Yeah.
even when you can't reach me. I'm not going to say don't talk to. No, you can always do that. And you can always bring it to me when you feel it's necessary.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. There's a time I was really sick. I was in hospital. I could not communicate on phone. Guess what? The children are well taken care of. They communicated. They passed regards to each other. The regards got to me. They supported the whole process of me being in hospital. And I can say they both got me out. So, you see, something good can come out of this if the communication lines are clear.
Yeah.
But I've also seen the other side where the communications lines are not clear, which you get now one of those backclashes. Oh, she does not do this. Oh, she did not do this. Oh, she cannot do this. So there's also that side which I wouldn't want to introduce to anyone. So open up those channels. Don't be afraid. Fear spoils this whole thing and makes it an abomination, which is not. It's a natural thing. It's here and it's here with us. Let's bring it out to the light and let's us as people make it be known to the Almighty Kwamba this is happening in real time. So let's be awake to it. Yeah, so that's the second challenge that I think is usually there. Of course, trying now to do this, of course, there's also financial constraint because people need to move from here to there, making sure that the provisions are here and they're there, making sure that the standards are the same. Because you can have your children going to this school with this particular parent and your other child here going to this school with this other parent, with this other union. So trying to make sure that all of them, or both kids from both sides, are provided for equally and sustainably is also a big challenge, because that means you have to partake having two households to hold those standards, which is quite a big deal. Yeah, I can say for now those are the three that I can mention as one of the biggest hurdles that I think come with that particular territory.
Okay.
Yes.
How did you deal with of course, as a family, there are those traditions you used to have, like when it comes to going out together as a family, maybe there's a birthday. How did you deal with that? Doing things in a certain manner, or a tradition we used to have as a family?
Yeah, so much has changed. You know, like, well, things are not the same. You know, we live in different houses. We live by different mantras and, you know, and conditions. So things have changed. What I can say is we have tried as much to retain the traditions that we had, especially when it comes to festivities. When you talk about Christmas, we have to go for, you know, a trip somewhere. When it's Easter, we have to do this.
So you go, all of you?
No. We don't. This I'm talking with regard to the children.
Okay.
We are not yet there, but that is something that I'm aiming for, by the way. I am such a strong believer that in the not so distant future, that she can come with her person, me with my person, with all our children, and we can do a vacay.
Wow.
Why not? Why not? I mean, it's all about pursuit of happiness here. So why not? Let's do it, you know? But that time will come as time heals. So when it comes to those particular traditions, the ones for going in these particular places at these particular times, I have tried to retain them. However, the changes are that we've tried to share the holidays, because not all holidays they'll be with me. If, for example, this year I have not had them for Easter, that means I'll probably have them for Christmas.
Okay.
Oh, no. When the next time when she has them for Christmas, I'll have, for Easter. When she has them for Christmas, I'll have them for Easter. So we try and share out those particular seasons.
And you make sure you have a balance.
Oh, yes. Like when you do summer holidays, I'll stay with the kids for a month. She will stay with the kids for a month. You know? And during these times, of course, their birthdays and their whatnots, there we've tried to make it as civil as possible. We have not come to a stage where we can hold it together, which, as I've said, it's a dream that I have for the future. For now, what we are doing is she has, when the Christmas falls, when she's with them, and maybe our eldest birthday is there, then she gets to celebrate the birthday with them. So what you do is you supply
Yeah.
whatever is required. You share in the costing of gifts and the cakes and whatnot. Then it is held. Same thing, if it's happening on my end, we don't share on the costs.
Yeah.
But of course, we share the gifts and whatnot, like that. So that's how we've tried to just balance it all up so that the children don't feel left out. And another thing that we do is you get to have 2 birthdays. So you can have one with mama and you can have one with me. So that's how I've been able to deal with my ex-wife with regard to occasions and try to maintain certain traditions. Like we have one that we go to in a Shipai, all of us, and whenever we go, we sit down nicely, you know, and there are chairs that we used to do when they were babies, and they have photos when they've become teenagers, and we keep doing that.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Lovely.
Yes.
Lovely. So as we wind up, how should one make his or her blended family a success?
Wow, that's a huge question. I'm not even there yet. I'm not there yet. I think pray that it is one.
Yes.
Pray for wisdom, for knowledge, for God to give you the grace to do as He wants you to do rather than what you want to do. Because, wow, it is not easy. Not even in the slightest. When you try and think about how much it takes in a day just to make sure that everyone is good, to make sure that everyone is good.
Yeah.
It is a hard tussle, you know. So I think you need a lot of prayer, a lot of studying of the Word of God, and just make sure that you're meditating in the right spaces to make sure that He gives you the right energies and the right strength for you to be able to sustain taking care of His children and His people, because your children are His children.
Yeah.
Your ex-spouse and your current spouse are His people. So the love that is expected of you by Him, as you've just heard me say that love your wife as Christ loved the church.
Yes.
So that quite takes a toll, a lot. So I think for you to have a successful one, you have to channel to what God says, which is give out as much love. And I mean as much, even when you don't have it. You know, sometimes you get to the end of it, you are tired, you don't want anything to do with it. You still have to give it. You need to be calm at all times. You need to be that strong tower for your household. Whenever they reach out to you, you're not the first one to break down and to blame them or to blame certain scenarios and situations. You need to be able to sit there, listen, understand, try and adjudicate and manage all sorts and manners of conditions that your children are experiencing in different parts. And for you to take it as wisdom to be able to give them counsel and for them to stay calm. So you have to be that cool, calm, and collected party to make sure that that happens. That is one. 2, you have to go out there and get that bread. You have to go out there and get that bread. It is not easy, but trust me, it makes your work easy. Just being able, whenever you're called for, you're able to sustain and to provide. It doesn't happen all the time. That one, I'll be real with everyone. It doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you just can't. But when you're able, please, as God says, remember me. Remember His people.
Yes.
So remember your wife and your ex-wife and your children and make sure they're good. Try and make sure school is catered for, food is catered for. If you don't have, you may not have, but try. I've always said the ideal word is try, make sure that that happens. I always have a problem when people are not doing anything about them. You have to try. And you have to be considerate of your ex-spouse. If, for example, she's gone out and she's gotten married, you need to understand that you're not the head of that house. Respect that house.
Yes.
With its conditions, with its Monday, with its everything. Respect that household. And at any given time, just realize that your position there is that the father of your children and whoever you're talking to is the mother. So it's a lot of respect giving out. So one of the things that we need to understand, and if you want something that is successful, when it comes to these blended families, you have to be ready to give.
Yes.
You have to give love. You have to give sustenance and support in terms of finances, in terms of advice, in terms of counsel. And thirdly, you have to give a lot of respect.
Respect.
You have to give a lot of respect. That woman right there, that man right there, ex, I don't know, they use so many words these days.
Yes.
A former, I don't know the others. All that. That person is the mother of your children or the father of your children. So if you cannot have, if you do not have respect for him, look for it and give it, regardless.
Yeah.
Because one way or another, it will trickle down to your children. And you expect your children to carry that respect into their own houses, into their own homes, into their own families. And if you can give that, I promise you, with God as the center of that household, that house will be a success.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
I'm told our time is up. Just like that.
Oh, it is.
Thank you very much for coming.
Asante sana.
We really appreciate it.
Asante sana.
And we are looking forward to having you again.
Anytime I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here. This word has to be brought out here.
Yes.
And you can still love God, believe in God, and reach out to God. Don't be scared to reach out to God. God loves us, man.
Yes, yes.
Right? So just be open with what it is, because it is what it is. Yes.
Give us your final remarks.
Well, let God be the center of everything. The one thing that I have come to learn is I may be faithless. I may fall out of faith. I may fall out of hope. But God is faithful. He will find a way. In between, in the midst, along the highway, somewhere He'll find a way to come to your service, to come to your support, to come to your help, and He will lift you up. So let God be the center of everything. Let man be a lie. Let God be the truth. So as you pursue endeavors in this world, trust God first. Then let God work on you. Allow Him, because He needs you to allow Him to work on you, so that when you're dealing with your spouse, whom comes first even before the children, whether it is the current or what, your spouse comes first. That current one comes first. That husband, that wife comes first. Then the children. We tend to put the children before the spouse, and that's when now we start having some imbalance in our relationship. Let your spouse come first. Let your children come second. And with that, with God as the center, you will definitely have a success. I always vouch for 3 things. Love. Never stop loving. Give. Never stop giving. That means whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, you need to give. And thirdly, respect. Whether it's the lowest person in the society or the highest one, give that out. And I promise you, it'll be given unto you. And I think that's all I can say.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Asante
And
sana.
what a way to end the show. As you talk about blended family, have love. Don't stop loving.
No.
Continue giving.
Yes.
Don't stop giving. And the last one, have respect. Have respect. And that marks the end of tonight's show. This is Couples Will Show, and this is where we write down our love will while we are alive, for we don't want our love story to be read when we are 6 feet under. And this can only be found on Wema TV, the voice of hope. My name is Willie Kinyash. Till next Friday. For now, it is a good night. God bless you, and God bless your marriage.